Hey, welcome back. Passover's coming up, so I figured I'd do a twist on a traditional Sephardic recipe. It's basically a kosher lasagna made out of matzah, called Mina de Pesaj. So let's get started with the filling. Since this is a kosher recipe, you could make this either meat-based or dairy-based. I'm going for the dairy option because that means cheese. So this is going to be a filling of artichoke and mushroom with blue cheese and Gruyere. It'll be briny and funky and melty and sharp, all sorts of amazing flavors. So to get started, dice up 300 grams of Cremini mushrooms. This can be labeled as baby portobellos. And feel free to go as coarse or as rough as you want with this. I'm going for 1/2 centimeter cubes here because it'll add a little bit of texture and bite to the dish. Throw those guys in a saute pan over medium heat, and then go in with about 50 milliliters of water. This is a trick I picked up from What's Eating Dan, where basically we saute the mushrooms in water before we add the oil, which will prevent the mushrooms from soaking up all of our oil. Now I added 200 milliliters instead of 50, but the good news is you could always pour it off if you add too much, which is what I did. Once it's all boiled off, we can go in with a good glug of olive oil. Then we'll throw in a few cloves of minced garlic. Add as much or as little as you want here. I like to treat garlic like salt and pepper. It's always to taste. Mix that in with the mushrooms, which will protect the garlic from burning. And once it's all fragrant, we're going to throw in a diced up onion. This is a pretty small onion, so if you're working with a normal size onion, then maybe use half. But again, it's up to you how much onion you want in here. Saute that until it's soft and translucent. Then we'll go in with 2 jars or 500 grams of Artichoke Hearts that I've drained, rinsed, and chopped up about the same size as the mushrooms. I'm also adding in 150 grams of chopped up green olives that I've also drained and rinsed. Saute those a little bit until some of the moisture evaporates. Then we'll go ahead and season with some salt and some black pepper and a few sprigs of thyme that I've removed the leaves from. You can strip them by sliding your fingers down the sprig and the leaves will come right off. Mix that all together, then let's remove it from the heat and let it cool down. And while you're waiting for it to cool down, would be a great time to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I've got new international recipes out every week. Once it's cool, let's crack and beat 4 eggs. And add that into the mix. Then we'll add a decent amount of blue cheese. The ratio is really up to you, so however strong you want it, then go with your gut. And I'll throw in a few handfuls of grated Gruyere, which will melt inside the casserole and bind things together pretty well. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 175 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. And now we're ready to assemble our minas. Here I've got a box of matzah bread, which if you're unfamiliar is an unleavened and usually unseasoned bread. So while it may look like crackers, those of us who grew up with a bunch of Jewish friends will know that it's not that palatable. Back in elementary school, there were plenty of attempted lunchtime trades for peanut butter and jelly and matzah sandwiches, mostly unsuccessful once we realized what was at stake. So to use the lasagna analog, this will work as our pasta. So go ahead and dunk 6 of these in some water, one at a time, because otherwise they'll disintegrate by the time you get to the last one. And into an oiled baking dish, place a couple of those sheets stacked on top of each other. Now spread on a thin layer of the filling, followed by a couple more sheets of matzah, another layer of filling, a couple more sheets of matzah, then top it off with a good handful of shredded Gruyere. Pop that into the oven for about 25 minutes or until the top looks crispy and golden brown. And with that, we're ready to serve. So that's a whole lot of flavors packed into one little, not sure what to call this. And that flavor is 100% to do with what fillings I chose personally. Basically every piece of this is big and bold. The artichokes and the olives have that briny acidity. The blue cheese has that funk. The Gruyere that I got is pretty sharp. And then you've got the mushrooms and the thyme holding everything together with their round earthiness. The layer of matzah and cheese on top adds a really fun, crispy texture to this. And then the sheets of matzah inside lend this structure to it, so you're not just biting into a casserole that falls apart. It kind of holds everything together in a subtle way. Overall, this combination works really well. Maybe not as a main course, maybe as a side dish since it is so bold, but the beauty of this is it's up to you what you want to make out of it. You can add any vegetables you want, any type of cheese that you want. You leave the cheese out if you want. It's really up to you. So I hope you give this recipe a try whether or not you're celebrating Passover. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more international cuisine every week. See you guys next time. Cheers.